Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. We are coming off Monday Night Raw with SummerSlam less than 2 weeks away now. Got your questions. First one today comes from Jesse. Hey Aaron, how do you feel about Raw being so promo heavy with less wrestling? I think it helped build up SummerSlam, but no action. I thought this week's Raw was just a show. I really thought it was nothing special. It was essentially just to build up SummerSlam. If you missed Raw, you really did not miss much. It was mainly promos and, like you mentioned in the question, not much wrestling action, and that's kind of the point. You want to have it so fans are anticipating matches on the pay-per-views, and the pay-per-views are when you get to see the heavy wrestling action. At least that's how it probably should be. Make people have to pay to see the big matches. I'm fine with short matches on Raw as long as the show is entertaining and there's good promos and interesting storylines. This week's Raw, the promos for me were alright. I mean, Seth Rollins went out there and rambled. You had the Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton video package, which I actually thought was really well done. And I know people were getting on my case about video packages, but I thought that video package was better than any of the stuff that WWE did with Orton and Lesnar last week. Just my opinion. You had the segment with Rusev and Roman Reigns coming out, which was a very clever way to get people to cheer for Roman Reigns. And then you had the main event segment with Cesaro versus Rusev and Sheamus coming out. So it's looking like we're going to have Sheamus versus Cesaro at SummerSlam, and then Roman Reigns versus Rusev, of course, at SummerSlam. The show was designed to build up SummerSlam, and that's what it should be. Just wasn't the most exciting edition of Raw, and nothing too surprising on this show. No Sami Zayn, which was weird. Hopefully we find out if there was a reason behind that, but yeah, I wasn't thrilled with this show, but I thought it was effective in building up the SummerSlam pay-per-view, at least somewhat. And I got this question here from Joey. What do you think about WWE finally acknowledging Demolition's record for the old tag team titles? I thought that was really interesting. That was the first time, at least to my knowledge, or from what I can recall, the first time WWE actually mentioned on air that Demolition have the all-time tag team record for the longest reigning title reign. Now, does that mean New Day will go on to beat that record? Time will tell. Did WWE and Demolition make peace with each other? I mean, Demolition was part of the latest concussion lawsuit against WWE. Did they bow out of it? Did WWE and Demolition come to terms on a deal, or has WWE decided to have New Day break the all-time record? That could be the case, and that's why WWE is mentioning it now, because there's a plan for New Day to keep the titles for the rest of the year. Which, I'm fine one way or another. If New Day breaks Demolition's record, I'm cool with it. I'm also cool with Anderson and Gallows winning the titles at SummerSlam. I think some people would like to see that. Some people feel Anderson and Gallows need that big moment, and then they should be the ones to beat the New Day. So it's a matter of opinion. I'm really fine one way or another what WWE does. So yeah, it was definitely interesting that WWE brought that up, and we'll see what it means, hopefully in the next couple weeks or maybe the next couple months. Alright, got more of your questions here. This one comes from Nikki Sturzu. Rumor has it that WWE is looking to write John Cena off TV for weeks to film his new reality show. Is his match with AJ that way? I would not be surprised if AJ Styles does something to write John Cena off of storylines, although WWE could go the same route as last year at Hell in the Cell, where Alberto Del Rio beat Cena and then Cena disappeared. Cena does have the second season of American Grit coming up that he will be filming for and taking some time off again. I would be shocked if John Cena beats AJ Styles at SummerSlam. I'm really not expecting it, because I think that with Cena being gone, it makes sense for AJ to get the win and be pushed as the top heel, and then when Cena comes back, WWE could go back to doing John Cena versus AJ Styles again if they wanted. If they really wanted Cena to get his win back also, they could wait on it. So yeah, I would expect something along those lines. Either Cena gets injured in the storyline by AJ, or AJ just beats him and Cena disappears. If Cena beats AJ and then disappears, then I have no idea what to think of anything WWE does at this point. Got this one here from Marco. Thoughts on the rumor of Alberto Del Rio possibly leaving WWE due to creative? Thoughts on WWE splitting up Paige and Del Rio? Who knows what's going on between Del Rio and Paige and why WWE split them up? There's been tons of speculation about it. I'm not really going to go there. As far as Del Rio possibly leaving, let's face it, he hasn't done much since he's been back. It's been a really disappointing comeback for Del Rio. I believe he came back for the money, and you know what? At the end of the day, you have to make the right business decision. And when it comes down to money, if you can make a lot of money in WWE, you can make more money in WWE than on the independent scene, then you should do what's best for you and your family. So I do not blame Del Rio for coming back if the money was good. But yeah, creatively, it has not been a great run for him. He hasn't really stood out at all. He was part of the League of Nations, which was a faction that went nowhere. And he's just been a guy on the roster. He hasn't been anything special, which is even more surprising because when WWE pays a lot of money for talent, that talent usually gets a huge push. Del Rio did get the first big win. He beat John Cena at Hell in the Cell, as I just mentioned earlier, but there really wasn't much of a follow-up. They paired him up with Zeb Coulter, and that was just the beginning of a downward spiral for Del Rio ever since coming back to WWE. So if he leaves at this point, it's not really a big deal. I doubt very many people will miss him, and that's not a knock on Del Rio. It's just he hasn't been booked like anything special. And you would think if you're going to bring the guy back, you would invest in him and do something with his character, which the company hasn't done. This one comes from NoDQ&A fan. Do you see WWE bringing back the bragging rights pay-per-view for the brand extension? I could see this possibly happening. I think that it would be better to not bring it back and instead focus on Survivor Series as the one time during the year where Raw and SmackDown talents go against each other, and maybe every once in a while doing a Raw versus SmackDown match. But I think that doing too many pay-per-views would water down the brand extension, which means, you know, in the world of WWE, it might very well happen. I wasn't really a fan of the bragging rights pay-per-view a few years back, and I really don't see the need to bring it back, especially if you're bringing it back to do like a 5-on-5 match or 10 versus 10. You might as well just do that at Survivor Series. Got this one here from Lewis. Could you foresee Triple H wrestling in a match in NXT in the future? Perhaps NXT TakeOver against Nakamura or Samoa Joe? I doubt it, because I think the idea is that Triple H is a special attraction like Brock Lesnar, like The Undertaker, and when he does appear, it's only at the biggest shows of the year like WrestleMania. I would be surprised if we see Triple H at an NXT show, although I think it would make for an interesting storyline where somebody on the NXT roster was getting out of control and Triple H felt he had to step in and teach this guy some respect, and it leads to a match between Triple H and whoever that person is, and you could have that person beat Triple H and become a huge superstar. That would be an interesting storyline to do, but I think it's unlikely because I think WWE wants to protect Triple H as a special attraction for the very biggest shows like WrestleMania. Got this one here from Darren Holding. Do Y2J, Orton, Cena need WWE like Batista and Rock don't? None of them really need WWE at this point. Y2J can do Fozzy, he can do Walking Dead, Talking Dead appearances, whatever. Jericho has other things he can do, his podcast. Randy Orton has made a ton of money over the years. He could retire, at least I think he could retire, and live happy. John Cena, he can do so many other things and make money. He doesn't really need WWE. He does it, like he says in the promos, because he loves the business. He wants to be a part of it. He has the passion for it. And really, I think all three do. And I think it's more about the passion than anything else. Not that Rock and Batista aren't passionate, but they had opportunities, especially The Rock. He had the opportunity to make movies, and Batista has gotten opportunities, and things haven't really gone well with his last WWE run, so he decided to just stay out of the picture and focus on his movie career. So, I think it just depends. But yeah, Orton, Cena, and Jericho are definitely not in a situation where they need WWE. They do it because they enjoy it. This one comes from Kyle Allen. Should Raw's first hour be dedicated to cruiserweight matches? I'm not really a fan of any hour of Raw being dedicated to one specific thing. It makes it too predictable. I think it's nice knowing that anything can happen and you don't know what the format's going to be. When you know what the format is going to be, then it just becomes tedious, and it's all the more reason to just DVR the show and, skip to what you want to watch and then skip over the rest. I think it would be a big mistake to do that. I don't think WWE should do that for any segment, whether it's cruiserweights or women. I think dedicating an hour to a specific thing would be bad for ratings. I think it's better to keep that unpredictable nature where every week segments are in different order and you don't know what to expect. This one comes from Juice. What are your thoughts on Shelton Benjamin not returning? It's definitely a bummer. I feel bad for him. This was a big opportunity for him to come back and make some big money, or maybe not so big money. There's been a lot of speculation that several guys were lowballed with offers. But Shelton Benjamin could have done a lot to help elevate younger talent and have a second chance in WWE. One more big run. Maybe he'll still get it. Hopefully he'll get it. After he recovers from his shoulder injury, he'll be able to come back and have one last run in WWE. I hope for his sake he's able to do it. It just sucks, WWE did that video package, everyone got excited, and then he got hurt. Maybe he has been hurt, I'm not really sure. He said that with help from WWE doctors he found out about this, so maybe he was hurt and didn't know the severity of it. Who knows? But regardless, I hope he's able to come back soon and have his final run in WWE. It would definitely be a huge disappointment if he couldn't come back after all this hype. Got this one here from that guy Josh. Is this Conor McGregor thing calling out WWE wrestlers a storyline for the future? Because WWE wrestlers are tweeting about this. From everything I've heard, it's not a work, and this is something that Conor McGregor's doing, going into business on his own, trying to generate buzz for his UFC fight. It's just him trying to get his name out there and ruffling some feathers and getting people upset, and so far it's working. A lot of WWE talent responded. They were angry. They were taking shots at him. Roman Reigns said his leg was bigger than Conor McGregor. Ric Flair said that Conor stole his gimmick, on and on. This very well could lead to something eventually. I mean, Conor McGregor could very well fit in WWE at some point and be in a storyline, be part of WrestleMania or whatever. But as of right now, this seems to just be Conor trying to get publicity for himself and build up hype for his own UFC fight and nothing else. This one comes from Jason Todd /Red Hood. If they signed him, could the Miracle Mike Bennett be a potential star in WWE, or is he better suited in TNA? There are a lot of guys in TNA that I feel have untapped potential, and Mike Bennett is one of those guys. I would say EC3 is another guy. EC3 did have that brief run in WWE, but he really wasn't able to showcase his abilities. I think Bennett, EC3, guys like that could possibly do very well in WWE if given the opportunity. They're doing well in TNA, but the other thing is that they're small, they're big fish in small pond. And who knows if they would do as well in WWE, but I think both of those guys could potentially have successful careers in WWE. I like both of them. Both Mike Bennett and EC3, I think, could do well in WWE if they're given the chance. This one comes from Keith. Do you see a multi-brand Royal Rumble with the winner facing the champion of their choosing? I doubt it. I think it'll be very similar to how things were done during the first brand extension, where the winner will get to face the champion of his brand, and then the other brand will do Elimination Chamber or something like that to determine the number one contender for their title at WrestleMania. that's how I see it happening. I think doing like 2 Royal Rumbles would be a huge mistake. The thing about Royal Rumble is it's once a year. It's something special. I think it would be a mistake to do 2 separate Royal Rumbles. Plus, you don't have the rosters for it anyways. 2 30-man Royal Rumbles would be extreme overkill. And doing a single branded Royal Rumble and leaving the other roster out of it completely would be a mistake. So really the only thing you can do that makes sense is a multi-brand Rumble. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest, and I will see you guys next time for more.